What is up, and welcome back to 24 Minutes of Not A24, the podcast that takes a look at the movies outside of the A24 library, literally 24 minutes at a time. I am Ethan Simi.
And I've been Lawhorn. This week on the pod, we're fighting big corporatism and trying to survive as we talk about Ridley Scott's famed sci-fi film, Alien.
The crew of a commercial spacecraft encounters a deadly life form after investigating an unknown transmission. Of course, directed by Ridley Scott. This is kicking off our, I believe, 3-episode little saga on Ridley Scott. We've got Alien, then we've got House of Gucci, and then we're talking about Napoleon, the big one coming out. Quickly, out of these three, which one are you most excited to watch? I know we've already watched Alien, like we're getting ready to talk about it, but like, what's your hype level for these three?
Napoleon, I think I'm really excited about, actually.
Ooh.
I think that'd be my top one for sure. And I was happy to revisit this. I haven't seen House of Gucci since the theaters. So,
okay,
I was excited for all of them, but Napoleon's got my number one spot.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you. I loved House of Gucci when I saw it in the theaters, and I'm like really excited to talk about it next week on this because, quite honestly, like it just gave me an excuse to watch House of Gucci again and see Lady Gaga and Adam Driver just go at it in the very small shed of a what is it? It's like a car fixing lot, like construction lot.
Construction lot, yeah. Just
very incredible.
On that desk.
Just fucking shout out Ridley Scott, giving the people what they want. Okay, we're talking about Alien. I have not watched this movie in a really long time, and this is the first time I've revisited it in like several years. I watched it late at night. I finished it around midnight. And so with all of that circumstance of like, I'm, pretty tired, end of the day, late at night, whatever, I was so fucking electrified. This movie is a perfect film. It is a 5-star, just incredible flick.
Okay.
I love it.
I love that you gave it 5 stars. I think that's amazing.
It joined the 5-star club. It's the newest honorary member.
That's awesome. Get the jacket going. I like it.
Yeah,
I mean, this movie's great. It's a relatively new watch for me. I'd say within the pandemic, I hadn't seen it before then. So this is something I've watched probably within the last 3.5 years. And this was my revisit of that. And yeah, like it's super good. It's great to have a female protagonist. I think Ripley's just one of the coolest, one of the best to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much cool, like almost like a family, like the bonding. We get those kind of arguments, so we get to really connect with all these people. And then the alien takes its time to show up. Like it's not necessarily an immediate thing. Like it's kind of a little slow, slow burn, which is awesome. I mean, we'll talk about some of the stuff, but like the fucking set design is amazing in this. And I think that's why one of the only ones I would put it up against is Star Wars. And that's because those originals are just like amazing. And speaking of set design and everything, but as far as maybe more true sci-fi, whatever, Alien's got to be in the discussion.
It was so crazy because I was watching it and I was like, I feel like if you show, I feel like if you showed this to somebody and they didn't like know, like, oh, this is like famed Alien, this is Ridley Scott. Like, I feel like if they didn't know all these things, you could almost like convince somebody like this is a documentary. Like they went and they filmed this and like they found this and this is legit. Like, I know it's a movie, but like that unbelievable set design. And like from the very start, we just get this incredible wonder, like through the entire Nostromo of like everything around us. And I'll jump into my first true cinema of like them discovering the fossilized alien. That moment for me is like, oh shit, like did Ridley Scott find this? Like did they go to another planet? Because it is so fucking cool. And it's obviously like looking out some telescope or something. Like it's looking for other life forms. How long has it been here? Why is it so fucking big? It sits weird and it looks weird and there's eggs everywhere. Like all of that, it's just real. Like I personally like buy in immediately. I don't even have to think about it. And that is really fun for me. Is that something that Prometheus or like any of the other, I've only seen Alien and Aliens. I've never seen any of the other movies. And I feel like I heard, isn't Michael Fassbender in Prometheus?
He's in Prometheus, yeah.
Okay. I know that's kind of a divisive movie, if I remember correctly.
I mean, I'm with you, though. I've only seen Alien and Aliens, so I don't know. Yeah.
We got to fire it up for Prometheus, man.
Well, yeah, let's make it happen. We can watch Fincher, Alien 3. I think
Whoa,
his
bring
debut.
it back.
Yeah.
Look at us.
This is also actually my first one, and it's again goes back to that set design, but specifically this shot where all of a sudden like we pull way back and we just see how wide open everything is, and they're just like kind of minuscule looking as they're walking through here. It's like, oh, it just gives you such a sense of place and size and all that, because the closer up shots are like, oh, that thing's pretty big, whatever, but then all of a sudden we just like slam back hard cuts, like, oh fuck, this thing is huge.
Yeah,
like that is so cool. And that leading into seeing all the alien pods and things like that too, like it's just a great segment.
Yeah, for sure. Number 2, I'm gonna keep going on with this like kind of set production, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be that bitch and choose the famed scene like out of the stomach. Like, you gotta pick it, you gotta talk about it. I made Molly pause what she was watching and take her headphones out and watch that scene because it's like just an all-time great. And we had just recently watched The Thing for the very first time. And we watched that together. And that movie, especially, you're just like, God damn, like they used to make some kick-ass movies. Like they used to make some really cool stuff. Like, and it was pretty much all practical. Like it just looked really good. And Alien is the same way, where it's just like that scene happens. And I literally said to her, like, they used to make horror movies really cool. Like they used to make really cool shit in movies. And like, we don't get that anymore. And I like to play this little mental game with myself, because I'm a sicko, of like, if this movie came out this year and it was brand new, nobody had ever seen Alien, this didn't exist, anything, and it was the same thing, would this be practical or would it be VFX? And this entire movie would be VFX. It would be all filmed in the dome, like, or in the volume, right? Obviously. And I think you get a horseshit movie if you do that. I think that that's literally what makes this movie so good. And that scene in particular, it works because it's real. And you get pulled like out of this dark, depressing segment of like, oh shit, we don't know what's happening, to like, it came off of him and now he feels fine and we're a family again, to like, oh my God, you're dying on the dinner table. And like, we've got to shoot you out into space. Like this really rocky ride that is so jostling that you lose your bearings and you're just like, what is this alien? Like, what is happening right now? Like, are we all in danger? Like, dude, what is going on? And I think that like propels the back 45 minutes that really make it that like game of like Hunter and Hunted. That's really fun. But of course, like that scene is famed, for several reasons.
Yeah. It's a great scene. For those who don't know, I believe the actor's response was real, because Ridley didn't tell them when it was going to pop out.
Are you serious?
They thought it was like on a certain count and he did it early. And so all their reactions to like jumping back at it are because they didn't know it was happening right when it happened.
That is filmmaking. Kind of That's fucking filmmaking right there.
Right? It's like, let's get genuine responses out of these people. So I love that. I mean, I had Chestburster on mine as well, just in case it didn't come up. But what I'll go with is kind of like you mentioned, the Hunter and Hunted thing. There's this whole section with Tom Skerritt as he's going through the vents, and he's got his flamethrower with him and his flashlight. And there's just so much tension built up because it's kind of this cramped space. Everything is super dark. He's like trying to communicate with people who are able to watch where he and the alien are on this little radar, and like it's cutting in and out, all that tension. And then suddenly, like the little dot just starts moving super fast, heading straight towards him. He's like, oh fuck, I gotta go. And of course, what does he do is he just jumps right down to where it's at, right onto the level where it is.
The belly of the beast.
And that turn that we get with the flashlight right on the beast, it's just like, oh my God. And then it just cuts. And it's like, holy shit, that is so well done. Like just the tension and stress that you can build up just through lights, and this filmmaking is great.
Yeah, the editing of like these smash cuts and really hard cuts that we go from like the peak of tension of like, holy shit, there's an alien on board, to like the complete disbelief of everybody and like the immediate dissolution of all of that tension and all of that energy and everything just like now being like, this is the new normal. I think is really incredible stuff. The third one I wanted to call out is really towards the end really kind of with Ripley being in the escape pod, and she makes it into
Yeah.
the escape pod. This is where we really, I feel like it ratchets up to like a full blown horror film. And we kind of talked about this on the Spielberg draft very briefly of like War of the Worlds. But there's a moment in that movie that's kind of like similar to this, where it is like hiding behind walls and like maneuvering to a new place. All the while, we're getting these flashing lights. And the lighting in this movie is incredible.
So good.
Really pronounced, really smartly done. But this scene in particular, of like, we're getting these flashing lights very continuously. We're seeing Ripley try to evade this alien that she doesn't even know where it is. And this game of cat and mouse that has been gradually happening the entire movie, but now it's happening in a much more confined space where, like, she's toast. Like, there's just like no other way to be like, yeah, she'll make it out. It's all good. Like, she's it. It's her and the beast. And you get to the end. And so I really like that horror aspect before it does flip the switch and become more of that quick action to kind of like cap off the movie. But yeah, that in particular, I feel like is the payoff of like that slow burn, that boiler pot style for the entire film, because then you're on the edge of your seat for this entire, final 20-minute sequence.
Yeah. And there's so much cool shit that happens there too, because the beginning reveal of the alien, like its head looks like just the rest of the inside of the ship.
It's insane.
Yeah,
it's
like
so
camouflages
cool.
its way in, and then suddenly like lifts its head, like, oh shit, it's right there. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. She ends up like getting it to go out that little door, whatever, shoots that harpoon type thing through it. But then the door shuts and it's like tied. The gun is still inside, connected to the rope, and the alien is still connected to the ship. You're like, no, you gotta be kidding me. Like, she finally got outside of the ship, but now it's like connected to the ship. And then like its tail starts to, connect to what it can, and it's going to go up and inside. And then obviously like she puts on the afterburners and everything happens, but there's still, even after the moment of relief, you're still left with this tension of like, oh shit, like it didn't actually work the way that she was planning for it to work. So, yeah, that's such a cool scene. Mine, it's just a little bit before that, but I really like when, I forget what the character's name is, but when they like hit his head off with the fire extinguisher and they find out it's been a robot.
Ash?
Yeah. When they find out Ash has been a robot this whole time.
It's a robot. He's a goddamn robot.
That's so good though. Like the bill, even before that actually happens, like we get the white stuff dripping down his face. Like he's kind of like being confrontational with Ripley, like what is happening here? And then the fight happens, and then his head falls off, and then his head's like on the table, and they're asking him questions and stuff, and then just fucking torching him at the end. It's like, oh man, it's so cool. Like just these practical effects of someone just like laying down and manipulating the arm while the actor has like his body underneath the table and his head just like resting on top. And it's like, but this is cool. Like it's great that they actually did it, and they show it this way. Like it's better than whatever CGI would have been. It looks, it's tangible, it's real, it's so well done. So yeah, I really enjoyed that scene.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Late 70s, early 80s horror movies, / like sci-fi movies really had a thing for flamethrowers. Like, we got to bring that back. We need that. We need that energy back in our movies where it's like, that's the solution. Like, let's just cook up 4 flamethrowers, give them to everybody. Best of luck. We'll see what happens.
I mean, yeah, what's going to stop you,
I think that's super smart. Yeah, I think that the Ash scene obviously is pivotal, not only for like the diversion of expectations, which really kind of happens throughout the entire film, but like, knowing that he's a robot, then you can go back and you can be like, oh, interesting. So like everything he says to Ripley of like, hey, can you not do that? Can you not touch that? Can you not look at this? Is all for the protection of the corporate entity, the corporate being, right? That they're out doing their jobs for. Very pro-union movie, even though they don't unionize. I felt it. I felt the vibes, and I was like, you guys, this is why we have unions. Like, you gotta get on this.
Yeah, they got to do it. They'll protect you from the acid blood, I think, with the unions. I mean, talk about another cool scene. Like, that was awesome, too, just watching them go down, and like see how far the acid went, which I thought was super rad. So this movie just has so much to offer for being. When did it come out? Is it
79.
79?
Yeah.
I
Insane.
mean, that's crazy. It's so good.
If you are found in Ellen Ripley's situation, where she tells Ash to not open the door because obviously they have a specimen and they need a quarantine period. Ash obviously opens the door. Now, this is his directive from Mother. We come to learn that. We come to understand.
Yeah.
That's why he manually overrode and opened the door. But in this situation, of course, and another like really smart driving force of the movie is like, if we just listen to Ripley, like none of this would have happened. We would have been in the clear. Movie doesn't exist. Like we're good. You know, like everybody's safe kind of a thing. But I think if I were her, I would have immediately go down, and I think you just like, I think all rules are out the door. You just fuck up Ash immediately, and you got to boot the other people out. You got to say, you're on your own at that point in time. You got to start booting people out of space. I'm not risking my life over an alien if I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think the movie does a good job of hitting that home of just like how little respect she is getting from some of these other people, you know, and she calls him out on that. Like when he's gone, I'm in charge here. And I think it again just speaks to having like a female protagonist and what it was like to have a position of power, you know, and just not have it be respected. So I think that's so well done. I love that they continued on with Ripley, and yeah, there's just a reason that she's like one of the coolest characters ever.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to also call out the fact that the alien gets bigger every time we see it, and I think that is frightening. It's truly scary because it does start as a small alien, and which is scary enough. Like it goes down in your body, right? And like it helps you breathe, but it also kills you at the same time.
Yeah.
Because like you're a host. And then it goes away and implants an egg inside of you. And then that egg then turns into a fucking huge alien in the span of what? Like 6 hours? Like what are we talking here? Like I'm really interested on the growth pattern here.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about it in that context, but yeah, this happens so quickly.
Yeah, it's so
like
fast.
A full size adult xenomorph, and yeah, I don't know. I was just reading up on it. I guess that xenomorph only has 4 minutes of screen time, and it doesn't show up until after an hour into the movie.
That is insane. I would not have thought only 4 minutes.
Yeah, those are Hannibal Lecter numbers. Like those are just like making the most out of your screen time, you know, because it's just like it's iconic, and I think when you think about the movie, you feel like you remember seeing more of it, but it's just so impactful and so smart the way that they used it.
Yeah, xenomorphs are crazy. This movie does make me want to watch the other like alien movies. Like I'm very interested. I haven't seen Aliens for a long time. I've never seen Alien 3. I've never seen Prometheus. And I think there's Alien Covenant in there as well. So like,
yeah, and
it's
an
a
Alien
franchise.
Resurrection or something. Like they've got a decent sized franchise.
Yeah, it's a franchise. And so I'm really curious. I feel like I'd really like Prometheus. I'm very interested in the lore of like the xenomorph. And maybe Prometheus covers that, and maybe listeners right now are just like, you dumb fuck, like there's nothing in that movie about xenomorph lore. Who knows? I don't know.
Alien versus Predator, you know, we got that as well. So,
okay. That's a big one.
Looks like we got with 4 Alien movies: Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. And then
Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
When did that come out? What was that, like early 2000s?
97.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
97. And then in between there was when we got the Alien versus Predator movies. They did 2 of them.
Oh, so that's just a licensing thing. They're just like, let's keep the franchise going here.
Yeah, exactly. And then 2012 Prometheus came out, and then we got Alien Covenant in 2017. So a lot of stuff. Apparently there's something called Alien Romulus coming out next year.
What?
Yeah.
Is this a movie or a TV show?
A movie.
Really?
Yeah, interesting.
Romulus, as in like Roman?
Yeah, exactly.
Roman Roy?
But directed by Fede Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead remake. He did Don't Breathe, Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Well, he produced that, didn't direct that. But yeah, so he's done some good stuff. Be kind of
We're
interesting
back.
to see.
I was literally just going to ask you, when do we need a reboot? Like, when are we bringing this thing back? And I guess it's next year.
Yeah, no Sigourney. So we're getting a whole new cast. So that'll be kind of interesting. But I don't think she showed up in the last couple either. So, but again, you and I haven't seen it. We can't really speak on it, but be interesting to see what happens.
I love that we spend half this pod and we're just like, yeah, we're pretty sure this is what Prometheus is about. And like, neither of us have I've never even seen a trailer for it. I just know one dude who's in
Michael
it.
Fassbender, and then other stuff happens.
I think Alicia Vikander is in that movie too.
Oh, really? Nice.
I'm just spitballing. I'm just trying to be like Mr. Know-It-All here without having seen the movie. Alien, would this movie fit in the A24 catalog? Last week for The Killer, I said no and you said yes.
Yes.
But I answered first, so I want you to answer first this time. Maybe.
I don't. Well, it's giving me the setting vibes of like High Life, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
High Life is so much more demented than this movie, though.
No, for sure. I'm just thinking more of like practical, like budget. Like they built those sets, they did all that stuff. Like it could be for that reason. Overall, I'm gonna say no, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. I'm trying to think, just like you are, about maybe what would make this more A24. I think what would make this more A24, hear me out. This is what, if it were in the A24 catalog, this is what would have to happen. We get the entire movie as it is. Mm-hmm. But then at the very end, we figure out that Ripley can actually communicate with the xenomorph somehow, either through brainwaves or clicks or whatever language we use. And she is essentially persuaded to be the human courier of the xenomorph race. And then we are, of course, left with a massive cliffhanger of her sitting on some type of xenomorph throne with eggs all on the ground. Okay. And her accepting her fate a la Midsummer style of this is my life now. I live with the xenomorphs. I just came up with that. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Fire it up. Bring the franchise back. Reboot this thing.
Yeah. I looked up. So it cost $11 million to make Alien back when they made it.
Oh my God.
Which is crazy.
That's fucking incredible.
It is amazing what they did with that. Because High Life recently, when they made that, was $8.5 million. So
wow.
I mean, I don't know with adjusting.
Oh, they had to make the sex room. I get it.
Yeah,
a lot of money for that room.
I think at least 7 went to that room. So, yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting. I'm curious what that 11 million translates to now. But even if it's doubled and it's 22 million, I think A24 would do it. If we get some of these people there. So, yeah,
that's pretty expensive for A24 though. Like that's even true. Now, that's pretty spendy. I think they don't drop unless you're Ari Aster. They're not giving you 30 mil.
Yeah, that's very true.
But it is Ridley Scott. If in this hypothetical situation, does Ridley Scott have the clout that he has right now today, or is he like an unknown? Like he kind of like, oh, Alien's like kind of your first thing.
Yeah, I mean, damn, I don't know. That's a great question.
Because you got to justify giving him the money. That's my question here. Think about it. Ponder it.
No, I think that's good. I'm kind of curious where Ridley was at that point.
Yeah.
What had he done? I guess he done.
I don't know, Ben, but you got to fucking wrap this pod. I'm not taking hot sauce next week, brother.
Well, we'll see. Anyways, let us know your thoughts. We're on Twitter and Instagram at 24 minutes of not A24 or of 2024. Thanks for your support. I'm Ben Lawhorn.
I'm Ethan Simi. It's a robot. Ash is a goddamn robot. I did it.
You did it.